This year's step-ups might just be the best ones yet, so who can you expect to be on your summons? How's it, everybody? Celtic Link here. We're back for another Dokkan battle video. In today's video, we have some pretty important information regarding the New Year's step-ups, right? We are just about 3 days away from their launch, and of course everybody's wondering, what are we going to do about them? Should we summon on them? Well, we can't answer that just yet till the banners come out, but we can get a pretty darn good idea of what to expect, and that is thanks to the in-game data that is actually showing 2 available banners coming on the 31st at the time for the New Year's step up, right? Now, this year we will have a New Year's Dokkan Festival and a New Year's Legendary Summon Carnival. So in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look at last year's step ups and see how we can break it down, because I have a pretty good feeling it's going to be something similar that could quite possibly benefit many players, including longtime veterans players. So let's take a look at last year's breakdown to kind of understand what we're to expect. So last year's breakdown began with a step 1 on 2 separate banners. They split it up super and extreme. On the first step on both sides was an easy A step, including all the super and extreme easy A's that had occurred throughout the past year, including the year prior, if we include Cooler here and this guy, right? They had to fill out some of it, right? And then from there, the next step moved on to a guaranteed yellow coin LR. And same thing on here, both super and extreme. And each of these yellow coin LRs had gotten their EZA within the past year, except for this guy. Although at the point that this had released on JP, he got his EZA about a week or so later. So, I mean, I guess it still kind of works. And then the next step was a banner unit and a Dokkan Fest, including LR Gohan, who had gotten his EZA that year from the year prior. So all 2022 Dokkan Fest. And this is true on the extreme side as well, right? 2022 Dokkan Fest, maybe a couple 2023s to fill out the roster, and then a cell on the extreme side. The next step was a super and extreme LR, non-EZA, right? So on the on the extreme banner, it was up to Super Boo, right? He was the most recent on that banner last year. And then on the super side of things, it was the LR Bulma. And I think JP actually got one more, right? If we go to Japan. Yes, they also had LR Triku, right? So if we'll come back to that in a minute, because I think this plays a bigger role all around. And then, of course, the final step is a Dokkan Fest exclusive, including all the Dokkan Fests up to KO, which was the August Dokkan Fest, and then the AGL Super Saiyans on the super side, and then, of course, up to Turles here, who was the October Dokkan Fest, including LR, STR, Cooler. So, I mean, it's pretty straightforward, the plan, right? The most recent Dokkan Fest on both banners, and this applies to JP as well, will always be the October, right? So the extreme was actually the same, because the most recent was the Turles. So for us this year, that's going to play a big role. The October Dokkan Fest was, in fact, Dokkan Fest, AGL, Planet Namek Saga, Vegeta. So knowing that info, we can actually kind of plan out what to expect, because each of these steps is actually a really good deal, right? The first step is always 20 stones, followed by 30. So you get 2 multis for 50 stones there. The next 3 multis are all 50, totaling for 200 stones, each with a guaranteed step at each way, including, of course, your guaranteed LR step. So what does that mean for this new format, looking at a possible New Year's Dokkan Fest and a New Year's Legendary Summon Carnival? Well, I think it means that we could see something far greater than we could have possibly imagined, if they do it right, of course. And what do I mean by that? Well, first up, right, we know that Global and JP have both been hurting for the return of Tech UI. Waiting till post-anniversary power creep is a really bad idea, right? I think a lot of people are going to want to use this guy during the anniversary as we approach it here at the end of the month of January. What better way to do and entice people to summon than to introduce him on as one of the characters on this legend, on this Dokkan Fest step-up banner. Now, I see the Dokkan Fest splitting two ways. So I see the splitting, right, between Tech UI as the draw for the Dokkan Fest banner and AGL Jiren as the draw for the Carnival Banner, and I'll explain why in a minute, but let's focus on UI here. So step 1 on the UI banner, right, everything is going to be the same, right? It's still going to be the same. It could still be the same format with 200 stones, guaranteed steps each of the way. What would be really good of them to do, right, is like right here. Step 1 is a super easy A step. Throughout this year, we've gotten super easy A's. Would be really nice to toss, so for newer players especially, right, tossing a step 1 in there that would guarantee one of these guys into your summons. I think that would be pretty good. The step 2, of course, would be the easy A step, similar to the original step 1, right, which was the easy A step. So no super and extreme. I'm judging by this, considering that it's not, it's not split. I don't think there's going to be a super and extreme. So altogether, right, the easy A's from this past year only on step 2 from Int Broly, STR Vegeta, Tech Ultimate Gohan, Gotenks, Kefla, Tech Boo, Bardock, and Videl, right? All of the TUR easy A's we've gotten this year could be our step 2, right? So guaranteed 1 easy A. The step 3 would probably, so this is where I think there might be a super and extreme delineation, and that is in step 3. So step 3, I see a potential LR guaranteed here, but with the 4 major Dokkan Fest exclusives that were not present in last year's step up, plus God Goku, because I feel like he could be a good draw here, right? So that would be AGL 21, STR Gohan and Piccolo, Super Trunks, and God Goku, with the super possible of it. So you have a possible LR on this step of the AGL, Super Saiyan God, Super Saiyan Goku, and Vegeta that fuse into Vegito. The step 4, same thing, but unfortunately, compared to last year's step up, I don't think there's going to be any difference on the extreme side because there were no other extreme units released. So this step, probably the least valuable if you summoned on last year's, right? But I mean, we had to split it up somehow. There was really no other way I could see them splitting up unless they made one of the steps like, 100 stones, but I don't think that would make it very enticing. This was really the only way I could see them splitting it up. Unless, of course, they just got rid of the extreme side altogether, although, I mean, people want extreme help, so, there is that. And then, of course, the final step 5 would include all the Dokkan Fest exclusives up to the October release. And I'm realizing now I forgot to include Topo on my little list here, but Topo should be here as well, and Fizz Rose. They should both be here. So this would include AGL Vegeta, Frieza, Tech Vegeta, Master Roshi, Fizz Rose, and Fizz Topo, who are not here, with the possibility of a guaranteed UI. Of course, this could be a lot different, right? He may not be the guaranteed LR after all, but, well, I shouldn't say guaranteed, but the chance of pulling him, right? It may not be him, but I feel like this is, if there ever was a chance to do it, this is it. If not, probably just scoot these guys down and put them in step 5, and that's where it is, right? Just bump these down a list and make only step 4 and 5, and then, right, so 1 step in guarantees Vegito and Zamasu, and then maybe step 4 guarantees Buhan and Super Vegito, possibly, since they did Easy A this year. It could be one possibility, but if they go the UI route, I feel like this is a good way to set it up, right, just to kind of split it up for everyone. Again, with the step-ups, right, you can summon on this usually up to 3 times with guaranteed at each, and at any point during this, you can pull any of the units that are present, right? So, assuming, right, let's say they decide to go with my prediction here, at any point you could pull one of the LRs. At any point you could pull one of the EZAs or Dokkan Fest exclusives, right? So this could be one way to handle it. Now, the real hard place to kind of figure out where to handle things, though, is on the legendary carnival side of things, and that's just because of the way that, I mean, there aren't too many different ways they can split it up, unfortunately. So the way I see this playing out is if it follows the same step-up format, it might go something along the lines of this, right? So step one would include, I'm assuming it would probably include EZA LRs from 2022, right? So pretty much anyone, well, this isn't on Misaka's list, but pretty much anyone before this list here. And then step two would include any LRs that EZA'd prior to the ninth anniversary on JP. Step 3 would include possible LRs that released or during this year, right? So these two would include EZA LRs. These two would include LRs released then. Possibly, it would probably, if I had to guess, it would probably only be 1 or 2 LRs. And it might just be only these guys as the LRs too, right? So I had a really hard time with this one because the nature of Carnival Banners is they tend to be filled with a couple extra, like 1 or 2 extra LRs, and then everything else are fodder banner units. So knowing the possibilities of LRs, I really don't know how they're going to break it down, but I could just sort of see them breaking it down in release order, finishing off with Jiren and the Gammas at the end, and then just filler units at each step. Like, you might be guaranteed 1 unit at each step, but not necessarily guaranteed an LR until the final step, or you might have a guaranteed LR at like one of the steps, or at like maybe step 3 and step 5 are guaranteed LRs, something like that. I could see. Now, why are the Gammas here? And I also, it's another one I forgot to include here, right? It was noted that the Gammas might be returning sometime soon, as well as AGL Full Power Super Saiyan Broly on the Dokkan Fest side of things. So it's possible they could be returning on these Carnival Banners as well, as sort of you know, maybe a stopgap to keep you from guaranteeing Jiren or UI Goku, right? You know, you have a possibility, a 50-50 shot of getting one of them, right? The Dokkan likes to do silly things like that. Like, they can't make it that simple. So I could see them doing something like that, knowing that these guys did mention they could be released, return soon. That it could also, that statement on their banner from the Black Friday banner could also have been referring to, you know, them returning on the anniversary, but I just thought I would bring it up that there's a possibility that they could be on there due to that statement. And again, on the Dokkan Fest side of things, Fizz Rose, Popo, and AGL have a possibility of being there. So as far as the rest of the LRs go on the Carnival banner, they could toss in 1 or 2 extras along the steps, right? Like, you know, the Broly trio, LR Rose, Fizz 17, and Frieza, right? Pretty AGL, Nappa, and Vegeta, like units that got their EZA within the past year. I could see, right? Yellow Coins specifically, I could see putting on there, right? Someone like the Blue Kaioken, Goku, and Vegeta, I don't see them being on there. Buhan and Vegito, I don't see them being on the Carnivals because they're Dokkan Fests. But the Yellow Coin LR EZAs, I could definitely see being included somewhere along the lines on the list here. But, you know, it's no guarantee, really. This is new territory. This could be anything. So, guys, that is it for the video. That's kind of my breakdown on how I think these are going to plan out. We have about 3 days until this banner is released, and I know it's an exciting time for everybody. You know, despite new, old, you know, mid-range players, the step-ups are always an exciting time, and if you are, you know, if you've got a couple extra stones set aside, it's usually good value for most players, unless you have everything rainbowed already. But if you're somebody who could use dupes of a lot of these units that are going to be coming, You know, there's a lot of value to be had, especially when you have guaranteed LR characters at different steps of the way. Hard to say which banners are going to be the most valuable until they drop, but either way, both stand to benefit players a lot, especially those who missed out on some of these throughout the year because they were told to skip the banners. So guys, that's it for the video. If you like the video, make sure you hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you have not already. And in the comments down below, let us know, who do you think are going to be on the step-ups? How do you think they are going to break down this Carnival and Dokkan Fest? Let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Of course, we will put out a full Should You Summon video when the details are revealed, and we will recommend whether or not to summon on the banner. But let us know your thoughts in the comments down below. Otherwise, guys, as always, thanks for watching, and aloha.